Be needed, full of wars, but never defeated. Well, it's a church, I am blood of Lord and His feet, the hand of Lord. I come the church in the revelation. It's been a cross, cut from foundation. It's been the blood, it's been the fire. But one of these days the church is gonna be on fire. It's the church, I am blood, oh Lord, and His feet, by the hand of Lord. I jump the church in the revelation. It's been a cross, cut from foundation. It's been the blood, it's been the fire. But one of these days the church is gonna be on fire. It's the church, I am blood, oh Lord, and His feet, by the hand of Lord.
There's a lighthouse on a hillside that overlooks the sea. When I'm tossed, it sends a light that I might see, and the light that shines in darkness now will safely lead me o'er. If it wasn't for the lighthouse, my ship would be no more. Everybody that lives around me says tear that lighthouse down. The big ships don't sail this way anymore. There's no use in standing round. But then my mind goes back to that stormy night when just in time I saw the light, yes, the light from that old lighthouse that leads me home to God.
Jesus is the lighthouse, and from the rock It's a country where no twilight shadows deepen. Unending day where night will ever be. A city where no storm clouds ever gather. All this is just what heaven means to me. reaches his hand out for me. I'm going up, up, up to be with Jesus. I'll be charged with twinkling all that hour. Bring you mystery from his quest for happy morning. I will meet you in that city below sometimes I just can't keep from shouting glory. When I think about his
returning home from a revival one time when he boarded a train that was very crowded. He looked around and the only seat he could find was beside a young man about 17 years of age. As he sat down, he made a remark about the weather just to pass the time, and he saw that this young man had a tear in his eye. He said, "Son, what's the matter? Maybe I can help you, I'm a preacher." And the young man looked at him and he said, "You see, sir," he said, "I got to talk to someone." He said, "You see, about 7 or 8 months ago, I got so mean that my parents couldn't even stand me. Well, I got so bad that I even struck my old gray-haired dad in the face. He told me," he said, "Son, if that's the best you can do, you're just going to have to find you another place to stay." You see, I packed my little bag and I hopped a train and I wound up in a town called St. Louis, Missouri. There I just did the best I could and stayed in alleys. But you know, one night I found myself in an old mission home, and there I met a man of God, and he told me about Jesus, about the one who shed his blood for me on Calvary. And that night I accepted Jesus as my own personal Savior. Then you see, sir, the first thing I thought about was that old gray-haired dad of mine. And I wrote a letter and asked him if he would forgive me. And you see, sir, now I'm going on home. Then the old preacher asked him, he said, "Well, son, how will you know if your father will forgive you?" He looked up at the preacher and said, "You see, in the back of our house, there's an old apple tree, and the railroad tracks, they run right by our house, and I asked Dad if he'd forgive me to tie a white rag in that tree. And you see, preacher, then I'll know that he has forgive me and I can go on home. But if there's not a rag in that tree, then I'll know in the bottom of my heart that he just couldn't forgive me, and I'll just go on my way." As they went a little farther down the road, he noticed that the young lad was crying just like a little baby. He said, "Son, what's the matter now?" He said, "You see, preacher, just around the next curve is where I live at, and I don't believe I can bear to look." He said, "Preacher, will you look for me?" The preacher said, "Why, sure, son, I'll be your eyes for you." And as he wiped off the glass of the old carriage that they was riding in, and he looked, but you know, that wasn't even necessary. You know, that tree didn't just have one rag, but it must have had 30 or 40. Why, it was even all bloomed out with rags. And the old preacher, he turned around at the boy, and then he looked a little farther, and he saw this old gray-haired dad, this old gray-haired mother, and they had a bed sheet, and they was just waving it just as hard as they could. And then he turned at the lad and he said, "Son, welcome home." You know, as you listen to this record, and you may be as this lad, you may be gone away from home, but you know God is waiting for you. If you're a sinner or a backslider, with open arms, God asks you, come on home.